So today we're going to take a tour of our world. We're going to go back and take a look at all the stuff that we've built so far. But before we do that, I want to do a little bit of work here on our beekeeper castle. I want to see if we can design the walls of our castle and maybe get a good idea of where our gatehouse is going to be. So let's jump into a time lapse and see if we can build up some walls here. So we started our series here by looking for the perfect world to play in. And I looked through a whole bunch of Minecraft seeds to find this world that we're playing in now. And the thing that I was looking for the most is just making sure that all of the important biomes were close to the spawn point. So we wouldn't have to travel too far to find all the biomes and could keep everything kind of close and keep the world somewhat small and not getting too huge, too out of hand. So we found this world to play in, but while we were looking through all the seeds, we weren't looking at any of the structures or anything. We ended up spawning right next to a village, which used to be right here where I'm standing. So it was really good in the early game to have a village, but we've torn it all down to kind of keep the aesthetic of our world looking good. I think I'm going to tear down a bunch of villages in the future because I don't like how they look. But anyway, this is our spawn point around this area. And I keep the happy ghast over here because I don't really know where else to keep them. I figure our spawn point is kind of central in our world. So if we ever need to move them, it takes forever to move these guys. We can move them like over that way or over that way. It's just kind of a central location. But this is our spawn chunks right here. And we built this tent kind of just to show where our spawn is up here on the surface. I like how there's this wandering trader right here at the moment. Kind of looks like he's living in this tent. But it's just a little campsite, and then when you go in the tent and you fall down this hole here, this is like our industrial area. So these are all spawn chunks, so they're always loaded. The first farm that we built in our world was the iron farm. So this is it, and it's given us a whole lot of iron as we played in this world. And we use the iron to trade with villagers mostly to get emeralds. This is our moss farm over here, so we get moss and bone meal. We've got a small sheep farm back here that I just go through and I color the sheep whatever wool I want. And it automatically shears them. This farm is not very efficient or effective. And then this one over here is our sugarcane farm, which I've turned off. Because we kind of have a manual farm that gives us a lot more sugarcane. And this had filled up and backed up over time, so I just removed the minecart that goes around. But these are our main farms here that are always loaded in our world because they're in the spawn chunks. And this was one of the first projects that we did in our series here. We've got a bubble vader to go back up into the tent. But we can go into the Nether because I usually never show the Nether in videos. So we are on the roof of the Nether in our world. At some point I broke this one piece of bedrock over here, which took me forever to do. And I climbed up on the roof, and then I haven't gone back down into the Nether a lot since then. Unless I need to go to like a Nether fortress or mine a bunch of quartz or something. But we use the roof of our Nether here to get around from place to place. Originally I used this horse to ride along the top of the roof here. But now that we have our elytra, it's a lot easier just to fly from place to place. We've got a portal to our castle here. We've got a portal to our creeper farm. There's a portal to a village over that direction. And then this way we have a portal to our ruined stronghold. And then while we're up here, we can look at our gold farm as well. So we built this earlier in the series, and we use it to collect gold, and originally we used it to just get a bunch of levels. We have an enchanting set up out here. This is where we made a bunch of our gear and our backup gear. But it's got some spawning platforms up there, and then you have to hit one of these guys with an arrow or a snowball or something to make them mad, and then they all come over, and then you can kill them with this looting sword. So, haven't really used the gold farm much recently other than to just get our gold supply up. But I found that flying around the roof of the Nether here is very efficient. I do have grand plans one day to make like some sort of Nether hub up here. But I don't know if anything will ever be as efficient as just flying around with the elytra and just having these portals sprinkled around. This one is the one that leads to our spawn hole where we came out of, and then right next to it is our villager hall. So the only way into our villager hall is through the Nether here. So you got to go through this portal, and then you pop out on this side, and this is where we have all of our villagers. So we've got a good collection of different types of villagers. Over here, this side is really where we get all of our emeralds by trading the iron from the iron farm for 1 emerald. And it's not the most efficient villager hall because I haven't gone through and why is this guy in here? This is a swamp villager, I think. I don't know, it's a baby. I don't know how it came about. Anyway, it's not the most efficient villager hall because I haven't cured any of these guys. I haven't gotten hero of the village or anything like that. All the trades are just what they are off the bat. I haven't done anything to lower them down. All these guys over here are book villagers, so we have the most important ones like Unbreaking 3, Mending, and Silk Touch. We got a Sharpness 5 too. And then this is kind of the main storage room in our world, where we just have a bunch of random stuff in these chests. I don't really have a huge storage system. Most of our important stuff is kept in our ender chest. So we have like a box of all our most important items. We have a box of fireworks, box of wood. We got this box which has just a bunch of like saplings and stuff if we need to grow anything. Box of various stone, redstone, just a box of dirt, sand. These boxes down here I fill up with like whatever materials that we need for what we're working on at the time. And then we just got some extra stuff in here. The goal eventually is to have our ender chest be our entire storage, so we can just carry it around with us. Because we're going to be building in a whole bunch of different places in our world here, so we need to have mobile storage. I don't know if I'll ever make a full-blown storage system where I can drop things off and then it'll sort it into chests and stuff like that. That could be a project for the future, but as of now, this is our main storage where we come back and get all of our stuff. The first major building project that we took on in our world was this fishing village here, kind of on the lake shore. And the goal for this village was to keep all the buildings kind of small, because the people of the village, they don't have a lot of resources, they don't have a lot of money to build large buildings. So they just kind of have a bunch of huts here, really close together. And most of the inhabitants of this village, they fish the lake, and that is their livelihood. But they do have a little community going on in here with all these houses that are just made up with like cobblestone on the bottom and then oak on the top. And then most of the roofs are mud brick, but then there are a few spruce planks for roofs as well. Back here is a stable, and we're going to take this horse to ride through our village. In all, I think it's about 40 or 50 people living in our village with the amount of beds that I placed down in here. And then that big, larger building there in the middle, that was once a barn that's been taken over by a cleric who, like, spreads his religion in the village. And it's got a hole in the roof which has been covered with a tarp. Up on the side of the cliff there is the castle of the Lord who rules over this village. And with you, someone in the comments actually came up with the name for this village, Fishville. So you guys have contributed to a lot of the names in our world here, which is very cool, I think. I definitely need help in that regard. This is like a blacksmith here on the road to the castle, which kind of wraps up around the hill here. And I really enjoyed making this road, and I'm looking forward to making more roads in the future. We need to build up a lot of new, interesting areas around our world, and then I envision having a bunch of winding roads connecting them all so we can travel through our world here and just kind of vibe while we're inside of our world. You know, we can go by horse and pass all the cool builds that we've made over the years, but this is the castle on the side of the cliff, which we've named Overlook Castle, which was another suggestion made in the comments, which I like. We kind of have to jump the fence, though, to get this horse in here. We'll just leave him. But this is the castle of the guy who rules over Fishville. He's got his banner up here, which is a fish on some blue. He's got some stables over here with more horses. This house over here was like the steward of the castle, where him and his family live. This building was the throne room. And this guy thought he was really important. We said, like, he believes that he's the king of the entire spawn area. But most other people just kind of view him as a petty lord. Because all he really rules over is Fishville and maybe some of this land over here. But this is his castle. It's just a simple tower. It's got like a small dining hall, a kitchen. There's like a basement down there. And then up on this second level, the king has his bedroom and then like a guest bedroom or the room for his children. And then it does go all the way up to the roof up here, where the king or his knights can come up here and look over all the land that he controls. So he's got the fishing village down there and the road that kind of winds up the side of this cliff up here to this castle. And all this kind of took a few of those first episodes, and I don't have any elytra on. But let's fly over to this, because we built this, I think, back in episode 5. And this is when we first started talking about the lore of our world, or our world's history. And so far we've established like all of the ages that our world has been through. We kind of want to have ruins scattered throughout our world, kind of hearkening back to lost times of grandeur before. So like the people of Fishville would look over here and see the ruins of this, what was once a city that was made by the ancient builders. So this is just the first of like many ruins that I want to build in our world. I think ruins, they add a lot to the story. This was once a temple where the ancient builders went into the Nether. And I don't think I'll go over all our world's history on this tour. There's a bunch of lore that we've kind of built up video by video. So eventually we will go back through, maybe make an entire video dedicated to our world's lore, if that's something that people are interested in. But otherwise, you can look back through all the other videos and see all the ages and the histories of our world, and kind of where we're going with builds that we make in the future. So back in episode 10, we came in here to the end to take on the Ender Dragon. And we defeated the Ender Dragon, and we went out into the end and found some elytra. We haven't built anything in the end other than our Enderman farm. And this farm over here is the main source of all of our XP in our world. It's the quickest XP farm that we have. So we've got these guys dropping to where they're just one hit kill, and we can use our sword to get all the XP and repair all of our tools. But this is the only thing we've built here in the end. I do think that I want to make something out here in the void one day. I think that would be cool. I just don't know what that would be yet. Transitioning back here into the Nether, we're heading out to our ruined Stronghold project. And the idea with this project is to take Minecraft's Stronghold and make it our own. So we go through the portal here. It'll take us into our ruined Stronghold. We'll kind of just walk around here and talk about the project, because this is one that's kind of forever going. We've got the end portal right down here, so when you come out of the Nether portal, you can just run right into the end. And the rest of this, I just wanted to look kind of like a big maze. We still got the beacon going here because we're still working down here. But our Stronghold, in the lore of our world, is there was once an ancient civilization known as the Ancient Builders, and they used magic to become a very powerful civilization. But eventually, they unleashed the Endermen onto the world, and it kind of caused the collapse of their civilization. They had to go deep underground and live in this stronghold here. And nowadays, it's just completely in ruins. So this is the Stronghold Library, where they kept all of their ancient knowledge. And I found that building down here takes a lot longer than building in the overworld. I guess from all the digging that you have to do. It just feels like every time you come down here, the project takes just like twice as long. This tunnel here is like where the people would sleep in the stronghold. So each one of these is like an apartment or a room where some people would sleep. Like there used to be some beds in here. And yeah, we just kind of are growing this place over time, adding new rooms every once in a while. Like this room here is the water hole where the people of the stronghold would have gotten their water. We've got a base for a beacon here because still got to do a lot of digging. This room comes back into the end portal room. And there's like a fissure in the ground here with some lava and then some chorus fruit growing up, kind of showing that the room has been, or starting to be taken over by the end. Like the end is leaking out of the portal and starting to take over the stronghold. Anyway, that's it for our Stronghold project. It's a work in progress. I really want it to be probably like 5 or 6 times the size of it that it is right now. So we got to keep expanding it over time. Eventually, the Ender Dragon was killed by King Stephen I, and he returned here to the overworld to build his castle on top of this hill and become the first true king of the humans since the age of the Ancient Builders. But in the centuries that have followed, this castle has fallen into ruin. But now, in the present day, it's been taken over by a mercenary company. So this was a really fun project where we had to build a ruined castle and then come in and give it life by adding in like tents and stuff where the mercenary company would be living. Like this is the Great Hall, and you can see how they've moved in here and kind of made it their own. There's holes in the roof. They've got a big fire pit going up here at the front of the room, and the smoke rises up through the hole in the roof. Through this door over here, there's the kitchens, where they've got some food cooking. And then, yeah, all these buildings here are filled up completely with interiors, mostly beds, because we wanted to boost the number of mercenaries staying here. This room over here, though, is been taken over by the blacksmith. So this is the guy who makes like the armor and the weapons and everything. And then if you look over in this direction, there's the temple of the ancient builders over there that's in ruin. And then further on that direction is our spawn. So that's where we are in the world. This is a very central location where the old king would have made his seat of power. In here, this is like where the original inner keep would be. And this tower here is been broken. Its roof has collapsed in. This tower over here has something cool, so the Mercenary Company has gotten this guy to join their ranks because he makes arrows and bows. He would have been born in a village, and then now he's an outcast from the villagers. So they've taken him in, and now he works for the Mercenary Company. It's a cool bit of lore. And overall, it was really fun making all the rooms unique in their own way. Like that tower back there is where the commanders of the company live. So their rooms are a lot more fancy in there. One of the buildings over there, we said used to be a church, but then we turned it into like a chicken coop. And this is probably the single biggest completed project that we have in our world. And really the first large-scale castle that we made. Definitely plan on building a lot more castles going forward. But this is this castle doesn't have a name yet. We just call it the Ruined Castle, or the Mercenary Castle. We still need a name for this one, and maybe a name for the Mercenary Company as well. But anyway, on to the next part of the tour. So we've caught back up to pretty recent history here. This is what we were working on in the last video. And this project, we're trying to take the Minecraft village and turn it into our own. So we're making each villager have his own house. Like each profession has its own house. This is the stone cutter's house. This one over here is the weaponsmith. I think it's the weaponsmith. Yes. I get the weaponsmith and the toolsmith mixed up. But they've got like a cartographer's house over here. And then this is the tent that the wandering trader keeps all of his stuff in when he's here, but right now he's out in the world. It's a pretty big project that we're working on, but I think it's going to add a lot of lore to our world and how the villagers connect with the humans. We still have to fill up all this area over here with more houses, which we'll probably tackle in the next video. We'll fill out all this, and then we'll also make some farms across the river here, and we'll have the farmer villagers out there actually working in the fields and stuff. But as of now, this is what we have for our village project. But at the end of our tour here, we're back to where we started today's video, here at our bee-themed castle, the Apiary. And we've added some walls up here in the front, and I think it's starting to tie the entire castle together. So I ended up doing more than just the walls. I built the main gatehouse for our castle here, so this would be the main entrance in and out of our castle. And while the interior buildings are very fantasy inspired, like that tall tower in the middle is very unrealistic, I tried to make the gatehouse a little bit more realistic, since it would be the main protection for the entire castle. And I think we'll fill the inside up with like barracks and stuff. I have gone in and added the floors in here, but I haven't made any fancy interiors or anything. So they got some arrow slits on all these. Got a stairwell here that goes up to the second floor. More places to shoot some arrows from. And then this goes up over the top where there's some murder holes over the gate. And goes in, just, it's the same on both sides. And then this door leads out onto the walls, where you can defend the castle from here. And I put like a barrier here on this side, and I didn't on this side. Because I figured they wouldn't need it. Like if there's enemies in here, they've already lost. So I just left this side blank. And I don't know, because when this was over here as well, it was looking too busy to me. But now that it's gone, it's kind of looking too plain. So I don't know. We will have to come in here, maybe between episodes, and fill out the interiors of these towers that we made in the previous episodes. And fill out the interior of this as well. We still have a whole lot of work to do here at our bee-themed castle. I think the next time we come over here to work, We're just going to try to get a huge section of it done. Complete this wall all the way over there to the river and add in a bunch more buildings inside here. But that's going to wrap up the 20th video from here in our Minecraft world. Hope you guys liked the tour that we took in today's video. I think that later on down the road we'll do an even larger tour, maybe episode 40 when we have a lot more built. But we'll make it even longer than today's video. Today was kind of just a short tour to remind everybody what we've built in the world so far. We didn't go into too much detail about any of the history and stuff that we've made up along the way. But of course, if you want to see all the builds in more detail, want to hear more about their history, you can go back and watch some of the older videos. But now we can take a look at the comment of the day. 30-minute video. I didn't know Jade moved like that. Yeah, so we've had a few videos go over the 30-minute mark in the last few. I think we've had the last one and then the one like 3 before this one. Both have been over 30 minutes. And I don't know, I kind of like the 20 to 25 minute videos. But let me know what you guys think. I think we have, you know, a small group of people regularly watching the videos. So what do you guys like? I feel like 30 minutes might be a bit too long. I feel like I end up making the same amount of progress in each video, but in the 30-minute videos I just yap a lot more. So I don't know. I don't know how long this one's going to be, but I did a lot of talking for this one. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for sticking around for 20 videos. And hopefully we'll get 20 more here in our world. Got a lot more projects, a lot more things to do. And looking forward to all of them. Bye.